Imagine how much money you have handled in your entire life. Every time you earn a salary, spend money, or get paid for something, the money passes through your hands. Over the years, that adds up to a lot of money. But how much of that money do you still have? Let me give you an example. Suppose you are 32 years old and you made $35,000 last year. And let's say you got your first paycheck when you were 18 years old and it was $100. If you sum up all the money you have made from then until now, you will get a number. Maybe it's $400,000 or $750,000 or more or less. But the real question is, how much of that money is still in your wallet? You probably haven't given much thought to this, but it's worth thinking about it because the answer might shock you. Did you know that an average person spends tens of thousands of dollars a year on food, housing, transportation, and other necessities? Over your lifetime, that means hundreds of thousands of dollars or even more. And that's not even counting the money you spend on things you don't really need, like clothes, entertainment, and vacations. So, are you happy with the amount of money you have left? If not, then it's likely that you don't know the rules of money well. In this video, I'm going to share with you the 20 rules of money that will help you live a prosperous life. You will never be rich if you don't master these rules of money. Stay tuned until the end of this video and you will learn them all. You will be able to switch to the other side of the coin. You will never be rich if you don't master the first rule of money. And that is, don't let anyone know you have money. Don't let anyone know you have money. In the era of capitalism, your social status is determined by how much money you make. So it's tempting to show off your earnings. But that's a big mistake, because if people know how much money you make, they will start to ask you for favors or loans. And soon you will find yourself surrounded by people who only want to use you. Trust me, I've been there. Showing off your money might make you feel good for a while, but it's not worth the trouble you will face later. And it's not just about material things. If you flaunt your wealth, you are sending the message that you are superior to others. While that might make you feel admired and respected, it won't make you friends. In fact, it will probably do the opposite, because people will be envious and bitter about your success. So what should you do instead? Be humble and grateful for what you have without attracting attention to it. Let's move on to the next rule of money that you need to master if you want to be rich: what to invest before investing money. And that is, invest time before investing money. Many people think that they need money to make more money, but time is often a more precious resource. For instance, investing time in learning about personal finance, investments, and budgeting can be very beneficial, as it can help you make smarter choices with your money and avoid expensive errors. And for those who are already knowledgeable in finance, spending time to learn about new investment opportunities can help you grow your wealth. Of course, there are some situations where it makes more sense to invest money rather than time, such as when you hire a professional to do a task that would take too long to learn or when time is of the essence. But in general, investing time to learn before investing your money into something you don't understand can be a smart move. Let's move on to the next rule of money that you need to master if you want to be rich. And that is, money is a game. Games offer players the chance to improve, as the more you play, the more you learn and the more you improve. Over time, even the most inexperienced player can become quite good at any game he's playing. The same applies to money. No matter how bad you are with it, the more you play, the better you will do. Like any other game, money has its own rules, so you have to learn them if you want to be good at the game. For example, in chess, one of the basic rules is that you can only move one piece at a time. If you try to move two pieces at a time, you will be penalized. Similarly, one of the basic rules of money is that you have to save before you can spend or invest. The best thing about the money game is that you can learn it. Just like chess or any other game, once you understand the basics, you can start developing your own strategy to win. The next rule I have for you when it comes to mastering the rules of money so you can live a prosperous life is, money will not solve your insecurities. You may not want to hear this, but when it comes to insecurities, money will not solve your problems. You may think that you need that expensive car or that bigger house to be accepted or admired by society, but that will not make you feel better about yourself. Why? Because money cannot buy your self-esteem or your happiness. The truth is that if you constantly compare yourself to others and feel that you are not good enough, no amount of money will change that. So the only way to overcome your insecurities is to work on them directly. And that means accepting who you are and learning to love yourself. Otherwise, you will only be chasing an endless cycle of material possessions that will never truly make you happy. Comment below if you agree that money cannot buy self-esteem or happiness, and share some insight about this topic that may help others. Let's move on to the next rule of money that you need to master if you want to be rich. Money is a game of life. Why money is a game of life? Because no matter how much you save or how wisely you invest, there is always more to gain and more to lose. So don't think that you can retire one day and stop playing. Of course, you can automate some of your tasks, reduce your hours of work, but in general, this game never ends. And if you don't believe me, just look at the richest people in the world who keep working even if they don't have to. The good news is that money doesn't have to be a source of stress or anxiety. If you deal with it with the right mindset, it can be quite enjoyable. So think of it as a challenge to overcome rather than an enemy to defeat. Moving on to the next rule of money that you need to master if you want to be rich. The more you learn, the more you earn. In today's society, it is more important than ever to learn things that are valuable in your life. With the economy as it is, jobs are scarce and competition is fierce. And it is not enough to learn things just for the sake of learning. You have to learn things that really benefit you in some way. The good news is that there are many ways to learn valuable skills without spending a lot of money. For example, there are many free courses on the internet that can teach you from basic knowledge of computer science to more complex topics such as web design, business, accounting, or finance. You can also find many valuable books on the internet, such as The Richest Man in Babylon or Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And remember this, in your journey through life, it is important that you learn everything you can, because each experience is an opportunity to grow and expand your knowledge. And the more you learn, the more money you can make and the more you can offer to others. By the way, if you're enjoying the money rule tips so far and want more videos like this, subscribe to the channel and hit the like button so I know. The next money rule is, become friends with those who are making money. If you want to make money, it is a good idea to be friends with people who already know how to do it. This is how things usually work. If you are surrounded by people who know how to make money, it is more likely that you will learn from them and start making money yourself. Of course, it is not always that easy. You can't just approach a rich person and expect him to mentor you. But if you try to relate to people who have experience and success in the financial world, you will have many more chances to achieve your own goals. So don't be afraid to approach and connect with people who seem to know what they do when it comes to money, because it could be the first step in your own path to financial success. Let's move on to the next rule of money that you need to master if you want to be rich. The greatest creations of wealth occurred during crises. The Great Recession of 2008 was one of the most challenging times that many people remember. Many people lost their jobs, their homes, and their life savings. It was a time of great hardship and uncertainty. But there were also opportunities during this time of crisis. And for those who knew how to seize them, the recession was a great chance to make a lot of money. Many people don't realize that some of the greatest creations of wealth happen during economic crises. When the stock market crashes and everyone sells, smart investors can buy shares at bargain prices. This way, they can benefit from the lowest prices and make a lot of money when the market recovers. The next rule I have for you when it comes to mastering the rules of money is, as you get older, your expenses increase. As the years go by, your expenses will keep growing, either because of inflation or simply because your tastes become more refined. You will find yourself spending more and more money. The truth is, we all want to improve and have a more comfortable life. That's our nature. We work hard to earn more money and to be able to buy better things and have a more pleasant life. But you have noticed that every year, in one way or another, you spend more and more. It's not only that the cost of living rises every year because of inflation. It's also that we tend to want more and more things as we age. We see our friends and neighbors with beautiful things and we want them too. So we work more and more hours to earn more money and to be able to buy those things. Although it's hard to accept, your expenses will keep growing. And if your income doesn't keep up, it will be hard for you to move forward and break this cycle. So it's important to be careful and take precautions. The next rule that you need to master if you want to be rich is, don't fly first class. There are many people who spend $2,000 or $3,000 on a first-class flight when they could spend $300 on the same flight. But is it really worth paying so much to fly first class? Consider this. Imagine that you travel about 8 times a year. And if we take into account that each first-class flight costs $2,000, that would give a total of $16,000 spent in a single year. If you use those $16,000 to start a new business, over time you could make much more than that. Or if you already have a business running, that money could be used to hire new employees to help you improve your results. You could also take some finance classes to give you the knowledge and skills you need to better manage your money. The reality is that if you fly in economy class, you will still reach your destination. You may be uncomfortable for a few hours, but you will arrive. Of course, it depends on you what you do with your money. But remember that thinking in the long term can pay off in the end. Now, speaking of starting a business, if you want to start a profitable business, then make sure you click the link in my description. There is a video where I talk about the best low-cost but profitable businesses to start if you are a beginner. With that said, let's move on to the next money rule, which is study your politicians if you want to save more money. You have to study your politicians if you want to save more money. It seems obvious, but many people don't take the time to understand the financial proposals of the politicians they vote for. And this is a mistake. Your vote should be based on something more than affiliation to a party. Because if the philosophy of a politician is to heavily tax their voters, you have to be aware of it before casting your vote. Don't be fooled by empty promises and slogans. And take the time to study the financial proposals of the politicians you are considering voting for. By studying these things, we can be better prepared for any financial change that comes our way and save us a lot of money in the long run. You will never be rich if you don't master this rule of money. Wealth accumulates over time. Wealth doesn't happen overnight. It takes time to build it. Just as you can't grow a tree in a day, you can't grow wealth either, because you need patience and consistency to see results. For example, Warren Buffett is considered one of the best investors of all time. He started investing at the age of 11, buying his first shares at a price of $38 per share. And now he has a value of more than $108.2 billion. If you had started investing only $100 when Buffett was 11 years old, today you would have a lot of money thanks to the power of compounding. In fact, you would probably have more than $1 million if you had reinvested your dividends and let the compounding do its magic over the last few decades. So if you want to build wealth, learn to start investing early and let the compounding do its work. The next rule of money that you need to master if you want to be rich is, don't let your money get bored. Money is like a muscle. If you don't use it, it weakens and atrophies. So the key to having strong money muscles is to use them regularly. Think of it this way. If you had $100 in your savings account and never touched it in 10 years, you would still have those $100. But they would end up being worth much less due to inflation, the increase in property prices, and the increase in cost of living. Now, if you had invested those same $100, for example, in a business, in 10 years you could have made a significant return on your investment. So what is the moral of the story? Don't let your money get bored by keeping it idle in a savings account. Allocate a part for an emergency fund in case of a rainy day. And the other part, put it to work to protect it from inflation and make more money. If anyone knows other ways of saving money, comment below. Let's share the knowledge. Let's move on to the next money rule that you need to master if you want to be rich. Focus on your finances. Don't compare yourself. Your best friend just bought a new car. It's beautiful, really beautiful. And you can't help but feel a bit jealous since you have been driving the same car for years and it's starting to show its age. But then you remember that financial advice. Don't compare yourself with others. This is a good advice, especially when it comes to your finances, because comparing yourself with others can lead to all kinds of problems, from making impulsive and imprudent decisions to getting obsessed with things you can't afford. The fact that others spend their money in a certain way doesn't mean that you have to do the same. So instead of focusing on what others do, focus on your own financial situation and what will help you achieve your goals. You will never be rich if you don't master this rule of money. Money is neutral. Some people believe that money is the root of all evils, but this is not true. Money in itself is not bad. but a neutral force in the world that has no moral value in itself. And it's the way people use it that determines whether it's good or bad. In the same way, money doesn't make a person different from who he is. It only amplifies what he is already. For example, if a person is kind and generous, money will allow him to do more good deeds. That is, he will be able to help more people and have a greater impact. But on the other hand, if a person is selfish and greedy, money will only worsen those qualities, which will lead him to take advantage of people and hoard resources for himself. Remember, money is just an object. It's the person who uses it that determines its value. You will never be rich if you don't master the next rule of money. Money flows towards those who know how to handle it. There is an old saying that says, if you want to have money, create things for which people want to give you money. And it's true, because money flows from those who don't know how to handle it to those who do. For example, let's say you create a new app that helps people save time and money. People will want to use your app because it makes their life easier. And when they see how much money they save, they will be more than happy to pay for it. So if you want to make money, focus on creating something for which people want to pay. That's the safest way to get the flow of money to flow in your direction. If you don't master the next rule of money, you will never be rich. And that is, when it comes to saving, you have to start little by little. Chris Raining, a famous investor and writer, was able to retire at 37 as a millionaire thanks to his smart saving habits. When it comes to saving, start little by little. That's his advice for those who want to follow his footsteps. One of his money-saving techniques you may have heard is cutting small expenses, such as that coffee for $5. The reason for this is that in an attempt to save money, people often try to make drastic changes in their lifestyle, which makes them feel overwhelmed and end up giving up. That's why, even if it doesn't seem like it, these small changes can be a great time saver. Once you have mastered the art of reducing small expenses, you may discover that making major changes is not so discouraging after all. Let's move on to the next advice to master the 20 rules of money so you can live an abundant life. Control yourself. Many people think that personal finances are all about math, calculating the interest rates, analyzing the investments, and making a budget. Although these things are important, they are not the most important part of personal finances. The most essential part is self-control. If you can control your emotions, you can make the right decisions with your money. For example, when you are scared, you tend to make bad decisions, such as selling all your stocks when the market crashes. Or when you are greedy, you also tend to make bad decisions, such as buying overpriced stocks just because everyone buys them. As someone said, the inability to control our emotions is what causes most problems. So it's not only about making more money, but also about controlling what you have. And that starts with controlling yourself. The next money rule is, spend less than you earn. When it comes to finances, the golden rule is to spend less than you earn. This may seem like obvious advice, but sadly, there are many people who don't follow it. They let themselves be tempted by money and end up spending more than they earn. And you may wonder why this happens. Well, one reason is that people often think they can always make more money. They think that if they keep spending, in the end, they will find a way to earn enough to cover their expenses. But it's not always like that. And the second reason is that they let their emotions control their expenses. That is, they see something they want and buy it without thinking about whether they can afford it or not, which is a dangerous habit because it can lead to debts and financial problems. Now, there is no magic formula to spend less, but a good logic is that if you have trouble making ends meet, probably the best solution is to make more money. But if you already have some good income and want to save money, then spending less is the way to go. You will never be rich if you don't master this rule of money. Learn to do something that not many people can do. In a world where so many things are mass-produced, it's easy to forget that the rare or difficult things to get are usually more valuable. Therefore, learning to do something that not many people know how to do is a great way to increase your value and make you more indispensable. Now, there are a lot of skills that you can learn, and that will make you more valuable in the eyes of employers or potential partners. For example, if you are looking for something unique, consider the possibility of learning to code or becoming an Excel expert. Today, it's also highly valued to speak more than one language fluently, so it's not a bad idea to consider this option. So don't underestimate the power of learning something new, as it could be the key to unlocking greater opportunities in your career or in your personal life. You will never be rich if you don't master these rules of money. If this video has helped you, start analyzing which of these 20 rules you comply with and you perform very well, and which ones you don't, and then start making the necessary adjustments. Even though being rich is a state of mind, it can also be a reality. By following these rules of money, you will be on the right path to becoming rich. Now, if you want to learn how to achieve financial success, then watch this video next. And if you made it to this point of the video, like and subscribe to the channel to see more content like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.